Hello everyone. In this video, we will discuss purchasing, logistics, and supply chain management. Time to link how purchasing is part of the overall supply chain management, and in particular, looking at its role in the planning cycle. We will then look at the importance of information along this overall process, and in particular, the importance of the purchasing information system. So let's start going back to our original definitions. We said that supply chain management covers all the activities, which means all the flow of goods, information, and cash from the very beginning, the raw material stage, till the very end, when the final customer receives the goods or the service, and with all the planning, coordination, operations, activities within it. Materials management is a part of the overall supply chain management activities, and in particular they relate to the incoming materials flows, while logistics normally involve both the incoming and the outcoming material flows, as well as the related information flows. So logistics normally is inbound logistics, outbound logistics, and rather often also internal logistics, so the movement of the goods within the factory and within the factories of my company. When we look at this overall picture, so the overall planning scenario, we see that everything starts with sales forecast. There is a very critical activities which is called SNOP, Sales and Operations Planning. So everything starts with a sales having a general view, a general also target of what the company will be able to sell, and it starts with a master planning at the very general level, both in terms of product families, not single product, but the overall family for long horizon. It could be next year, it could be next semester. Then these plannings goes towards being more and more detailed and become a master production scheduling, which is called MPS, where specific production targets are defined within a quarter, within a month, and then within a week. And then there is a detailed planning also within the week, within the day, within the single shift. Along this process, from the very general one, a long term, to a very short term and very detailed one, there are several checks on the capacity. I should have internally or through my supplier the capacity of reaching the production plan target. But also, in this process, there is a key element, which is the MRP, Material Requirement Planning. At a certain point, when we move from the general planning to the master production schedule, we run the MRP. The MRP, it's software-based, normally software-based procedure that looks at the planning target. It takes the planning target and it's called exploded them based on the bill of material. So if I want to get 100 finished products, knowing that each finished product is made of certain components, certain materials. I take the bill of materials and I multiply all the requirement by 100 if I want to reach a 100 production target. So the MRP takes the bill of material and the planning targets and check it with the inventory stock. And based on that, it issue what we need to replenish or we need to source in order to make this production schedule really feasible. So this is a very critical part. And purchasing is required in order to make all this feasible. So once we have got the requirements, the purchasing department needs to go and get what is required. As a matter of fact, the MRP takes into account the lead time for suppliers. So it's really the purchasing, it's fully integrated into this picture. The MRP represents a view of setting everything together. The MRP and whatever I've seen before, I've mentioned before, they are very much related to customer order. Sales forecast and customer order. And in fact, sales forecast, so generic forecast, as well as customer order, are a very important element in shaping the way the logistic processes are carried out and the planning processes are carried out. A key reference point is the DOCP, Customer Order Decoupling Point. So there's a time, this is a time in which a generic forecast becomes a forecast to serve a specific customer. In here we see that there are several possible settings, moving from those that are very much based on forecast, which means on stock, towards those that are based on customer order. Here we see 5 different alternatives: making and sending to stock, making to stock, assembling to order, make to order, engineering and making to order. Let's look at the 2 most, let's say, representative one and also most widespread one. The MTS, making to stock, and the MTO, making to order. In one case, I've got in front of me a generic forecast, and whatever I do is driven by this generic forecast. I plan my factory in a very efficient way. When I've got an MTO, all my planning activities and therefore my logistics activity, my sourcing activities are driven by customer order, which means I can be very much more customized. I can react faster with respect to changes in the marketplace. At the same time, I lose efficiency because I may be running sometimes and stay idle other times. Assembly to order, engineering to order are variation about related to the MTO approach. One, it's clear that companies will try and postpone as much as they can the customer order decoupling point. They may want to move it downstream because after that I need to work make to stock. Before that, make to order. Before that, I can work make to stock and therefore being more efficient. So I try to keep the more responsive part just for the final phases, while I want to work based on a plan that is rather detached from the market on the initial part. When we look at the link with the customer order, a link with what happens in the market, we immediately think about just-in-time. Just-in-time, as the word already mentioned, it's an approach that aims to make all the materials and products available at the very moment in which they are needed, not before. So I don't want to build up large stock before, that I keep them idle, that they may be deteriorating, that may be not usable any longer, that in any case increase the working capital. But I want to have what I need just in the moment in which I need. For this reason, it's clear that when I do so, I should develop not only a logistics process able to support just in time, but also a quality approach, because if I've got no stock, I should have zero effect. If I've got effect, they will, let's say, disturb my just in time, and even they run the risk of disrupting, even completely blocking my production and even my overall supply chain. So just in time and quality goes hands in hands. And whenever I think of just in time, I should think also about involving suppliers, because a true just in time is not only done by myself in my factory, it should touch the overall supply chain. So I should be committed to provide my suppliers the information as early as I can and support them in reducing also the pipeline, the inventories. It's not easy. Sometimes just in time, I do just in time, adding stock at the supplier's level. Sometimes I force my supplier to cover my mistake. Sometimes I'm not very good at managing quality also with respect to my supplier. So just in time is a very powerful approach, but it's required a strong involvement from suppliers, and normally is associated with a long-term agreement, long-term relationship with them. In many cases, it may also involve close location, which is called co-location. My suppliers are really located close to my factory in order to be able to feed me even twice a shift, or to feed me with very short notice if required. So to a certain extent, just in time is against global sourcing. Distance will harm it. Whatever we do in the planning, especially if we move towards just in time, it's very much related to information. Sharing information, getting the most updated information, and therefore a very strong purchasing information system is required. The enterprise information system, what is called ERP, is a very important basics in order to build an effective control of the single transactions. It's a transactional information system. But in order to manage the processes, I need to build up a managing information system based on that. And I may want to do it with respect to procurement, looking at both the specific details of the ordering, but also I need to have a broader view. For instance, a view of the supply base who can contribute to a given product category, supply category. I may want to have the performance of the supplier. I may have an easy way of tracking orders, the follow-up. I want to check the delivery for expediting. So a very effective information system, very much integrated with the overall enterprise information system. It's very relevant for making the purchasing process and the logistic process very much integrated.